everyone, and welcome to Creativity Unleashed. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I built this chicken house and going over all the details and the thought that went into it. This one cost me about $1,400 to build, fully all the materials, and it was definitely a big learning experience trying to think through everything that a chicken needs.
Alright, let's go over the features of this chicken house. This is a 10 by 20, which means it's 200 square feet. Some people say up to 60 chickens. I think that might be a bit much, but depends the quality of living you're trying to achieve for your chickens. I made landing gear essentially for these. It's on a pivoted lever. So there's basically a hinge and a long lever with the wheel attached to it, as you can see there. And then I'm using a piece of chain to be able to attach it at whatever height I want it. So that way you can choose how high you raise the coop. Of course, being able to set it onto the ground is important to keep predators out, and if you have small chicks, also to keep them in. So the front end is designed similar to a pallet jack, where that it has that similar arm that you use to steer it and to pull it around. And so I like that really well, and it's detachable, as you saw there, which means you could technically use it for multiple things. It is a bit heavier than I thought it would be, and so it does take 2 to 3 people to be able to move the chicken house. I'm sure you could design it where a lawn tractor could hook to it, but I think it mainly due to the amount of roofing. Before it had the roofing on it, it was a lot easier to move. Here is the chicken feed. I'm doing a fermentation of 4 days. That helps make it better for the chickens to digest, but it also helps reduce the glyphosate. The main reason I got chickens is because I could not buy organic eggs in this country where I'm living, and all of the grain is pretty much sprayed with glyphosate, and I'm very allergic to it. It causes really bad digestion. Glyphosate was, of course, is used as a weed killer, but was originally patented as an antibiotic, so it kills off the bacteria in your body, which causes all kinds of inflammation and problems with digestion, and for me, a lot of diarrhea, which is no fun. And so even from just eating chicken eggs, I would have trouble. So fermenting it long enough has fixed that issue. I would, of course, love to use organic grain, but I still cannot find that. So I, of course, supplement the chickens' diets with all kinds of kitchen scraps. And as you can see, they like the fermented food quite well. And there is the advantage, you can use about 1/3 less food because of it being fermented. Makes them be able to utilize the nutrition and vitamins all in the food a lot better. I will link a video below to a really good video on fermentation so you can learn all about the advantages of fermenting your chicken food. I'm living on a tropical island, so winter is not really a consideration. Just keeping the sun off and keeping the chickens cooler was the main objectives. But if you have winter to deal with, you're going to definitely have to make some design changes, and I would probably have an insulated area. I'm also supplementing their diet with eggshells that I save. I roast them and then crush them up. And I also have dispensers, which you can use for dry food. And I use them for eggshells and bone meal. I make bone meal out of beef bones after making broth and stuff. Their nest box worked out really well. I put individual doors on each one, so in case I have a broody hen and I want to let her sit on the eggs, but I don't want all the hens to sit on their eggs, I can pick and choose which nest box to leave open. Of course, I put a feature where I can open the kind of like a truck bed door to get to their eggs. You can see the roost up here is in the center of the house, and I have the ladder there, all made out of galvanized tubing. One of the advantages of having the roost in the very center is it keeps all of their poop dropping in the center of the cage. You don't want it to get on the sides of the house, or it'll start rusting out the galvanized metal and make a huge mess. So you can see I just had made a very simple sketch on a piece of cardboard of what I was trying to do, and I bought mainly 1 by 2 rectangular tubing for the bottom, which I made essentially a bar joist that goes all the way around the bottom, and that's what adds most of the rigidity to the house. The little trusses are made out of 3/4 by 1.5 inch rectangular galvanized tubing, and the purlins as well. The upright corner posts and all of the supporting posts are 1.5 inch by 1.4 millimeter tubing. That's quite lightweight, but as you'll see A little bit further on, I'll be adding X braces in to make the structure even more rigid. And on the bottom bar joist, I add in some 3/8 bars in a webbing form, in kind of a W form, which adds all the rigidity required so that the cage doesn't really twist when you lift it and raise and lower it or go over uneven ground. And so you can see cutting out the tubing, a lot of it with an angle grinder. This is often really easy to do, to miter all the corners and stuff. Of course, there's fancy saws to do that as well. But I often find it's just as fast to mark it out real quick and cut it with an angle grinder. I'm using a Thulium welding machine here. This is a multi-process machine. They run around $230, $250. They go on sale for pretty frequently. And this one, I'm doing flex cord wire. This is 030 wire, or 0.8 millimeter, I believe it is. And it works extremely well on the galvanized tubing. It doesn't require any shielding gas, and it's very easy to use. And you can get flex core welders for under $100 that will weld this kind of tubing extremely well. So as far as welding equipment goes, to build something like this, it doesn't require a super expensive machine. And of course, angle grinders can be picked up from about 10, 15 to hundreds of dollars, depending the quality, but even a $20, $25 angle grinder usually will do perfectly fine. So as far as tools go to build something like this, there isn't a whole lot required besides having a tape measure and square and a few basic tools. Of course, when you look on the internet, you'll see that most chicken coops are made out of wood, but I think you'll have a very difficult time making them move around, especially at this size. Wood just doesn't tend to be strong enough, rigid enough, and would get really heavy, and I think would actually cost quite a bit more than a galvanized one. The nest boxes are just framed out of 3/4 by 3/4 inch galvanized tubing, and then we're filling it in with wood. It's hardwood scrap from a local furniture company that makes furniture. We use a lot of staples and glue to do that, and we made them, of course, with individual doors, so that the chickens, you can close off each nest box, or if you have a broody hen, you can leave one of them open. So you can see here I'm beating a piece of flat stock. This is 3 inches wide by 1/4 inch thick, and I used a hammer and an old piece of I-beam to beat it into a circle. And then I'm grinding some bevels on the joint, and then using 7018 to do a full penetration weld on it to ensure that it's as strong as it can be. Probably not necessary, but might as well. So right here I'm using some 3/8 round bar. I used the caliper to measure everything to ensure that I was getting everything as close to perfect as possible. I'm using 1.5 inch round tubing in the center for putting the bearings in. I'm just using standard wheelbarrow bearings, which can carry a whole lot of weight, and they are extremely economical. So I decided to go with the wheels, partly because I'd never made wheels like this before. I'd seen a video where somebody did very similarly, and I was like, oh, that looks like a fun little project. And because they come out very cheap. These came out to about $9.50 per wheel with the bearings. And it's difficult to buy this dimension of wheel that would be this strong and that wouldn't have plastic components that always are falling apart on you for that kind of price. So I decided to just make it myself, and it was quite satisfying to see that you can actually just make a wheel. This one's probably within 1/32 of an inch of round tolerance. I used a Tupperware bowl to check it while I was pounding. I had one that was really round, so I just was able to compare it and then whap it a few times here and there until I got it within about 1/32 of an inch. So I'm very happy with those. So then I made a pivoting mechanism with the lever for the sides, and of course the chain to lock it in place. And then for the front, I made a removable little like carriage there. And so here you can see the roofing. This is 1 meter wide, galvanized roofing, and it's very hefty, good, strong roofing. This is like what's used on all of the warehouses and airplane hangars and that type of stuff. It's one of the parts that was a bit more expensive. I think it was around $400 for the roofing for the whole house, but it should last very, very long time. Installing metal roofing is very easy. The main key is to make sure your first several pieces are running true, that they're running straight and they're square to the frame of your house. And once you have that done, it's a lot easier. I also didn't go into the detail. The chicken mesh, the actual mesh I'm using to enclose the coop, is a metal mesh that's essentially powder coated with a good hefty coating of powder coating. So the people that sold it to me at the veterinarian place said it was the longest lasting mesh, and as you can see, it is very easy to see through since it's a very dark green. Here you can see the gutters. They're about 3 by 3, and they're just made out of the galvanized metal. And I cut essentially kind of like a cardboard box on the corners, so then you just fold the bottom one up and then the 2 sides in and rivet that. And then that slips under the roofing and gets screwed down. You can see we use straps about every meter, and that just ensures that it doesn't open up. I'm planning to put a water storage tank on it with some poultry nipples or something like that to give them automatic watering, but I'm just waiting for those to come in the mail. So overall, I think it worked out extremely well. I have the one area with some roofing around the sides to ensure that if there's blowing rain and all, that they can get out of the rain, and of course they can climb up to their roost. So everything's worked out extremely well, and I've been really happy with it. So you guys have a great one, and feel free to leave any of your questions down in the comments below or hunt me down on Instagram. You guys have a great day. Catch you guys in the next one. And here's just a close-up look on the front steering carriage that also lifts it. It is a very simple setup, but it was a bit complicated to figure out how to make it all work and fit together, and where the clearances and stuff would work out well. You also can see here's some more shots of the roost. You can of course add more boards, but it is important, like I was saying before, to keep them in the center. The ladder is made out of EMT 3/4 inch. And I put on anti-slip tape that's used like on steps and around pools and things like that. And also one of the advantages of having doors on your nest boxes is to keep the hens from sleeping in the nest boxes. Where they sleep, they tend to leave their droppings, so if you ever have problems with that, it's nice to have the doors. Not that you couldn't use something else to keep them out, but it is convenient having a door. Also, one of the things you may be wondering about is the second cage inside of the cage. What's the point of that? Well, there's quite a bit of thought that went into that. One of the reasons is you can have a hen or a rooster get injured, and once what they do, if they start bleeding, often the chickens will just keep pecking on them, and so it's nice to be able to segregate them until they get better. Also, if you have a mother hen with chicks, it can be nice to keep them apart for a little while, especially while the chicks are really young. Also, if you just buy new smaller chickens, it's also good to be able to keep them apart. And often smaller chickens are of course going to be on a different diet than larger laying hens, so that's another reason behind that. I've also been designing a new moving chicken cage, a 5x10, where it'll be more of a wheelbarrow style to move around and quite a lot lighter, and of course will fit into some of the smaller areas in the gardens more easily. And I think they'll be really convenient, especially to be able to till up some of the garden beds a lot more and get rid of all the weeds and seeds before replanting. And of course, if you have any great ideas for the new chicken cage design, please let me know what you're thinking, and any other ideas to improve the setup. I would love to hear that. You guys all have a great day, and I'll see you guys, of course, in the next video.